morning. Today we're going to take a look at how to have a set of data and find the finite differences between the terms, and from that determine whether it's a linear, a quadratic, a cubic, and then from that use our graphing calculator to find a regression to give us the equation of the function. Okay, let's look at all of that. Okay, so here is the set of data we've been given, our function f of x, and then our x values. The first thing we want to check is make sure, are our x values going up by the same difference each time? Yes, they are. Okay, so when that is the case, what we next want to do is take a look at the differences between each of our increasing f of x or y terms. So to go from 1 to 4, we have increased by 3. And then we'll do the same for each of the remaining. So here is our first set of finite differences. Now, if each of these finite differences were the same number, then that would mean this were a linear equation, but they are not. So now we're going to go ahead and find the finite differences between each of these differences. And once again, if each of these differences were the same, then that would mean our function was a quadratic equation, but they're not. So now we do it again. Now, for this, our third difference, all of the finite differences are the same. That means this equation here is a cubic. That means its highest degree is a to the third. So just to review, if the first differences are all the same number, it's a linear equation. If the second differences were all the same number, it's a quadratic equation. If the third differences are all the same number, which they are in this case, it's a cubic. Now, why did we do all of this? Because our graphing calculator has some pretty powerful tools, one of which is to do a regression. But you have to know whether to tell it to do a linear regression, a quadratic regression, or a cubic regression. So in this case, it's a cubic. Now, let's review how to find all of these functions on your graphing calculator. So first, let's just show you where these things are found. So see this key here, statistic? Okay, if you press that, and if you go into calc, then you can see in these lists, number 4 is a linear regression, 5 is a quadratic regression, and 6 is a cubic regression. All right, so now the question is, where do I enter all of this information? So if I go back again to my stat, this is the first screen I get, in edit, number 1, okay, and I press enter to make that happen. I get the option to enter things into my list. So I have already entered these, but let me just go to list 3 to show you how I would enter. So you toggle back and forth to the list you want, and then it gives you the option, list 3, item 1 equals. So let's say I want to enter this group of things. I would press 1, enter, and it would put it as list 3, item 1, list 3, item 2, 2, enter, 3, enter, 4, enter, etc., etc. Okay, so I had gone and done that already for list 1 and for list 2, and I have put in for list 1 all of my X variable answers, and then for list 2, I put in all of my outputs, all of my Ys. Okay, so now that I've established that I've got all of my X points in list 1 and all of my Y points in list 2, I go back to stat, I go back to calculate, I choose my cubic regression. I can do that by pressing 6 or by toggling down and pressing enter. Okay, now it tells me X list, list 1, that is correct. That's what I wanted. Y list, list 2, that is correct. All right, now I'm going to go straight to calculate. And here it tells me that for a cubic in the form of y equals ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d, my A value is, my B value is, my C value is, and my D value is. And that will allow me to write my cubic equation and then therefore predict what, say, f of 507 is, because I would just write this equation out and then I would put in 507 for x and find my value. And so that is how to use the combination of the finite differences and technology to create an equation based on a set of data. All right. Check out some of these other videos. Consider subscribing to my channel so you know when I put out a new video. And as always, keep on mathing.